Hi there, this is Diecast channel, and in this video I'm going to do a review on this 1970 Dodge Charger 500 made in a 1/2/18 scale by Greenlight Collectibles in the Artisan collection. This car is not as particular as that 1969 I've shown before, but it's also a very interesting car, so stay with me to the end of this video so you can take a better look at it. And don't forget to subscribe, to share this video, to click the bell for news, and also give me your thumbs up. So let's unbox this car and take a better look at it. So this is a Charger, is correctly unboxed, and it really looks like that one I've shown before. That's an RTSE that's made by Earl Authentics, but this one is made by Greenlight, and it's got a pretty good quality. Just some details we're going to describe a little more in this review. But one thing that made me curious about the Dodge Charger is, why hasn't Chrysler quit the Dodge Charger 500 if it was not as successful as it was supposed to be in 1969? At least it doesn't sound like it was that successful. That really makes me curious about. And one thing that we notice in this Charger 500 is the complete absence of some details that are present in the RT. The rear window is exactly the same with those fins and the C-pillars. The front is exactly the same we find in the Dodge Charger RT, but the logo here just says Charger instead of RT, in that case RTSC, which is a special Dodge Charger. The wheels and tires are different. Those ones are the Rally Pack. The other one is the steel wheel with the hubcaps, the dog dish hubcaps, but these are optional. So it really doesn't vary from one version to another one, but according to buyer's choice. The door is exactly like the one in the 1968 and 1969, but the rest of the car is basically the same. I've done some research about the Dodge Charger 500 to find out what happened, but I really couldn't find much information. What I found is mostly from 1969, as related to that blue Charger I've shown before in a previous video, but nothing really about the 1970 Charger 500. What I found out about the car, and what I do believe is Charger 500 became a trim option for 1970 rather than a performance option, just like it was for 1969. And I've also seen that there were some Charger 500s with the 383 engine option. In 1969 they were only a 426 Hemi or a 440 Magnum. So this is one difference I found. One more thing I can notice is the grille is the same, the side is the same, of course neglecting that detail. The rear is the same, so you really can't tell much one from the other one unless you really observe a little bit more. As we notice in this hood here, there are no directional lights, just like we find in that RT model. I don't know if this was present in the actual 500, so if you have further information, please let me know down in your comments if they were optionals or if they weren't even present, if they just share the same hood but with no lights at all. There are no pinstripes here on the sides. One thing that's good about this model car is the quality of painting is excellent. The chrome parts are very well made. The windshield wipers are separate pieces. The windshield and rear window have the chrome trim around them, and they're real chrome. Tail lights are excellent. The wheels are very nice. The wheels and tires. The antenna is a metal rod, and a gas cap is a separate part as well. But one thing we notice is Greenlight hasn't done separate chrome parts and around the wheel wells and around the windows. Those trims are all cast in metal and painted on. And this Charger here is made in photo etched, which is excellent. And the blinkers, the directional lights we find here on the sides, are just stickers, just like decals actually. But in general, the car is very nice. One thing that's a little frustrating about this Artisan collection is this car just has opening doors. It doesn't have opening hood. It doesn't have an opening trunk. The hood seems to be a separate piece, but it really doesn't open. It's fixed in place. And it would be very desirable to have a car like this and look at the engine. So we could even find what kind of engine this car has got. As we look at the front of the car, we see the same grille we have in the other Charger, but instead of Charger RT, we have Charger 500. Concealed headlights do not open in this model. They're different from those ones in the Authentics. So Authentics is a much better light than the Greenlight. Yes, no doubt about it. I'll make a video comparing both cars so we can see for ourselves. Windshield wipers are good. Windshield is very good with a very good transparency, and the painting has a great quality. The antenna has a lot of realism, and those directional lights pretty well made. About the rear, there isn't really much difference from this Charger 500 and the Charger RT. Just the Charger 500 logo, but the tail lights are the same. This black trim around the tail lights and around the trim is basically the same. The rear bumper, the reverse lights, and the dual exhaust are the same. And the gas cap. Car is pretty much the same as the Charger RT. In the interior of this Greenlight, we can notice a 3-spoke steering wheel, the pedals, the gas, brake, and clutch. There's a mechanical transmission and a parking brake right here in the left corner. And the gauges are very realistic. There is a pistol grip gear lever, and the seats are fixed. They do not tilt. This car in general is much simpler than that one made by Authentics, but Charger 500 also seems to be much simpler than a Charger RT. There's some detail here in the door, and according to the lock, and the way the door opens is pretty much realistic. So this is one thing that Greenlight does well. Besides, the Charger logo here is made in photo etched, which is a very pleasant detail. Passenger side, the pistol grip rear gear lever and central console, and a dashboard with a pretty good realism, although they are mostly stickers. This dashboard is not as sophisticated as that one in the Authentics, and the glove compartment lid is fixed. It's a simpler brand and showing a simpler car. There's no headliner. One thing I consider in mine is in these Artisan cars is the base. This base here is completely poor. As we can see, the engine has been painted hemi-orange, and a tranny also. By the way, it hasn't even been painted hemi-orange, but it has been painted mango orange, the same color of the car. Hemi-orange would be a little more to the red than to the mango color. Besides, they've painted some parts that weren't supposed to be painted. The mufflers are basically 2 pieces cast in plastic, and the rear ends and the tips at least are somewhat realistic, so we can notice that when we see the car from a front view, a side view, or a perspective, whatever, the car looks good as an outside, really. As we look at the bottom, we notice that this was kind of poorly made. I don't mean poorly made as cheap materials, but as lack of details. So Greenlight really should improve in this part of the car. That this would be much better to have a quality like the Ertls, for instance, or even a Maestos that have a functional suspension. This one doesn't have, and front wheels do not steer. But the wheels and tires are very good. When I've reviewed Earl Authentics, I gave that car a 10 with no doubt, really. But this car I would give an 8. It really looks nice. The color looks nice. The way the car was painted is fantastic. The painting quality, the trim quality, the chrome, wheels, tires, I really have no doubt about it. Even interior, that's simpler. It's pretty well made, although it doesn't have a headliner. But this car really has a couple minuses. One minus would be the base. That's really very poor in details. And the other minus would be an unopened hood, an unopened trunk. That really it's something that would be very desirable for a 1/18 scale car. If we notice, Maisto has made a 1969 Dodge Charger that has all opening parts, and it's a much simpler brand, and the models tend to be a little bit cheaper. So there's no really excuse for Artisan, for Greenlight, not to make those movable parts. I think they should do it at least with the time. Anyway, the car looks very nice and looks very attractive, and the way the parts are fitted and the way the car is made is really good, and the details that were done, except for the base, are very realistic. So I'd like to thank you for all likes and views. Please don't forget to subscribe, to share this video, to give me a thumbs up, to click bell for news. Let me know down below what you think about the car and about the video. If you have some further information about the Charger 500 for 1970, please let me know, since there's too little information on this car. And thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.